Hey everyone, I'm Brian Gomez, and I'm the founder of the Inner Black Sheep LLC. I want to start off by saying thank you to all the listeners, the audience, the followers, those who have liked, those who have subscribed. I really appreciate it. This is video 2 of the Inner Black Sheep LLC. It is currently 12:15 a.m. on October 22nd, and that's what you do when you're trying to follow your passion. You work late at night or early in the morning, depending on how you look at it. But it's worth it, and I wouldn't trade anything for it. And again, thank you for joining me on this journey that I'm partaking in. It's going to be great. The first part that I want to focus on is for those of you who are the first listeners, a little bit about the company. So the reason why I founded the Inner Black Sheep is that it connects to a passion of mine that I have, and that's helping people. And the intent is to utilize the different platforms, the Inner Black Sheep, to really get each of my listeners to have a better understanding and acceptance of their authentic self. That's really what the Inner Black Sheep is all about, is finding who you are through these sessions and different platforms we'll be utilizing. But before I begin, I also mention that this is also part documenting, so documentation, a recording of the events as they unfold again from the bare bones. So I try to enhance my mic by utilizing, again, what I currently own, which are some Apple AirPods. And I found out you can't do that with the native recording app that comes with your phone. I try to mirror it from the Apple TV. I was unsuccessful. I figured, you know what? I got an idea. I'm going to get an adapter. And again, it didn't work. I looked it up, and Apple says you can't use it for that. Ironically, I ordered some AirPod Pros that'll probably come tomorrow, so I might be returning those and utilizing those funds for an actual mic, either a boom or something attached to the cell phone. But I feel that my lighting improved a bit. I do have a overhead outlet, or where a can light is to be once this basement is finished. I had a CFL bulb in there from my old house that I was reusing in the basement on purpose to get rid of those bulbs when they burn out, but I changed it for an LED version of a floodlight, and I feel the lighting's gotten a bit brighter here, which is good, because my actual studio lighting is still in the middle of shipment, so it hasn't arrived yet. But eventually, like I said, it's a work in progress. I'm going to continue on making these videos with you guys so that we can get to where we want to be. So let's talk about authentic self and the Inner Black Sheep. So I mentioned, the company that I have, and I mentioned why I use the name. So before I go there, I want to talk about something I call the 3 A's. And what those are apprehension, acknowledgement, and acceptance. And I feel with those 3 A's, or those 3 key points, is really what's going to get each of us, myself and you guys as the listeners, the viewers, to really have a better understanding and acceptance of your own authentic self. And today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus on one of those 3 A's. I'm not going to go through all 3. I'll save those for different videos, so these videos aren't very long, because that's just the society we're in today. We don't want too long of videos because it loses our attention span, and that's not what I want to achieve here today. So let's start off with apprehension. So the term I'm using within apprehension is to understand. And really, unless you understand something, there's no way you can really acknowledge or accept what it is. So it's, how do we understand your authentic self? So have you ever asked yourself, why can't I just do the status quo? Why can't I just keep my head down, do my work, do as I'm told by my parents, by my friends, by my employer, and, proceed forward? Is there a gap that you have, a hole, an emptiness, a void that kind of that yearns to be filled, and you're not, satisfied with your current situation, no matter what that is. I'm not going to go into details about that. That's personal between you and yourself, your authentic self. But the reality is, all of that, let it be feeling off, your gut feeling, instinct, intuition. It's your authentic self. It's your subconscious authentic self, because a lot of times we don't realize kind of what's going on. You get a tingle in your stomach, or something feels off. You're up at night, constantly thinking about, the thing that happened during the day, the evening, or, the week before, or what's coming up in the future. But the reality is, it's your authentic self trying to talk to you. And it's something that, you really need to understand before you can acknowledge and accept it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. I want to give an example, of myself. I said in the first video that I'm going to be disclosing my story, kind of peeling the curtain behind, the wizard behind the curtain of myself. And, I'll go from there. So, I didn't always know that I'm actually the black sheep of my family. I didn't realize that until about my mid to late 30s. I started, reflecting on my past, kind of got me to where I am today to have these videos and talk with you guys about myself. And, further on as I started to, apprehend, acknowledge, and accept, it was really about understanding, why do I clash heads with my family? Why don't we always necessarily are on the same page? And I started reflecting. I started seeing some signs. I started realizing patterns. Different views, values. There were just things that we didn't necessarily align on. And ironically, I figured, getting my education, finishing my degree, getting the corporate job, being successful in corporate America, getting married, having a family, doing all the right things. Like, how could you be the black sheep? But the reality is, that has nothing to do with your successes in your life. It has everything to do with your core, with who you are on the inside. And that's what is your authentic self. And for me, it's the inner black sheep. And then, then the question would be, well, why are you going to use the word black sheep? A lot of people always think, oh, a black sheep is that one-off, doesn't want to be part of the crowd, it tries to be special. But the reality is, for me, it's okay to be the black sheep, because it's who you are. It's not everybody will be the black sheep. This isn't gonna relate to the entire world. I mean, there's those who are regular sheep, who fit right into society and everything, and it's all wonderful and great for you. But this is really for those of us who just are different. Those of us who can be a little extreme with your values and how you feel, and it really keeps you up at night, and it's really yearning to come out and say, hey, that's not okay. And it doesn't mean that, not being a part of exactly what somebody else's values are means that it's bad. That has nothing to do with that at all. But, I'll disclose myself a little bit, and I'll give you a little story. So, growing up, it was no different than a lot of other people. You're taught to, respect your parents, follow the rules of man, and follow the rules of God, and speak the truth. And ironically, the truth is kind of where my story kind of begins, subconsciously. So as a kid, I was told to tell the truth, so I would tell the truth about my family. And unbeknownst to me, they didn't appreciate that, and they weren't happy. I would get in trouble, and it kind of blew my mind. As a kid. Like, why can't I speak the truth? I thought I was told to speak the truth, and the reality is, as I grew up and got older, in corporate America, you realize that candidness is really what people are striving for. They really don't want, the full 100% honesty. It's really trying to be candid. Yeah, I didn't even know that word existed, let alone the term, as a child. To me, it was just, you are who you are, and you speak about that, and that's okay. Yet it bothered me in my core. Like, why would I be getting in trouble for telling the truth? And, subconsciously, my inner black sheep was born. I wouldn't realize it for, many years to come until I was an adult. But the reality is that was, one of my most memorable moments, or the highlighted moments that really triggers when I reflect back of, okay, so that's where I started seeing a difference between me and my parents. And again, it doesn't mean that my family are bad people. They're not bad people. They have great hearts. They do great things. They're good people. They're good at society. It's just our views, aren't aligned, aren't always the same. Our values aren't always the same. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that something's wrong. What it means is that you're different, and it's okay to be the black sheep. And that's really where, in the future videos, and I talk about acknowledgement, and I give a story about that one, and I talk about acceptance, and I give a story about that one. You start seeing a little more about what I mean about really being your authentic self. So with that, that's really what I wanted to disclose today. I didn't want these videos to get too long, but again, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. And then, we'll continue on. So the next video, I will focus on acknowledgement. So again, thanks everybody, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.